You know what passion is? Passion is an emotion. It's an emotion without an action. Passion will get you nowhere. Inner drive will get you nowhere unless you act on it.
But for some reason or another, you've been holding back. For some reason or another, you just have not been able to gather your nerves or be able to work through the procrastinating or putting it off or justifying or blaming. Some reason or another, you just haven't done it. And you know you ought to do this. You really want to do this, but you don't know why you haven't done it. We know that this is not easy. Because in order to begin to reinvent your life, you've got to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort. That you really have got to put all of yourself into it. It's very challenging to act, to do those things. I think that among the things that prevent us from acting is the fear of failure. And if you've already failed, you don't want to fail again, the pain of that.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity, Qatar. But do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice.
You have to act on your passion. You have to act on your inner drive. Don't let those feelings stay inside of you. You got to know what to do with them. You got to know how to make them work in order to get what you want. Don't keep it inside.
Prayer is great. Contemplation is great. But if you don't take action, all the rest is wasted.
You have to actually show up every day and inch yourself forward toward these dreams. And not only show up every day and once in a while inch yourself, I mean every day you have to actually take an action that moves you forward. Not just research, not just thinking. Look, the power of an intention is great, but without any initiative, it's dead, right? A dream is great, but without any movement, it's dead. You have to be moving towards every day. Keep every single day momentum going. And if you don't do that, there's no chance.
If you find your passion, you're going to have this tremendous energy. It's sustainable energy. But momentum requires you always do the next thing to keep the momentum going. And the reason you get yourself in a passionate place is so that you change your life, and the only thing that changes your life is making a decision. So while you're in this passionate state, that's where you make decisions.
Most people don't use their imagination constructively. Most people use their imagination destructively. They imagine what they don't want. We've got to consciously and deliberately imagine what we do want. If we will take and sit down with a pen and ask ourselves, what do I really want? What do I really want? And write it down. And then make a written description of it in the present tense. Writing causes thinking. Thinking creates an image. And you get these images going, you're building a vision in your mind. It's the visionaries that's changed the world. Think of that. The fact that I can sit and look into this camera, and you can sit and look at me on your phone, or on your TV, or on your laptop. That was the result of somebody's vision. Do you know everything you've got, the clothes you wear, the house you live in, this microphone that's in front of me, it was all the result of somebody's vision. It's not an accident. You and I have a marvelous imagination. And everything starts with a vision. Van Gogh was asked how he did such beautiful work. He said, first I dream my painting, and then I paint my dream.
You're never, ever, ever, ever going to feel like doing the things you need to do in order to have what you want. You're always going to need to push yourself. You're always going to need to parent yourself. So what is the net advice on this? What is the bottom line? The bottom line is no one's coming. No one. No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. Nobody's coming to tell you to apply for that job that you've always dreamt about. Nobody's coming to write the business plan for you. It's up to you. And because you're only ever going to do the things that you feel like doing right now or that feel good right now, unless you understand that you've got to parent yourself, you got to push yourself, you're not going to make your dreams come true. You're just not. We're not wired that way. You weren't born that way, you weren't that way when you were growing up, and you're certainly not that way as an adult. And there's a tremendous amount of liberation that comes when you accept the fact that you're always going to need to give yourself a push.
Success is an elusive thing, right? What is it? And I think it's very interesting that if most people can't define success, well, it means you made X amount of dollars. But if you make X amount of dollars but you spend more, are you successful? Or, well, it means you come home happy every day. Okay, how do you know when you're happy, you know? So I think success is a funny thing, which is we all seem to pursue it, but we don't know how to measure it or actually how to define it. So how do you pursue something that you can't measure? Fascinating. So when people say to me, how do you measure success? The question we all have to ask ourselves, am I successful? I don't know. I mean, I had a good year last year. And what does that mean? Does that mean I made a lot of money? Does that mean I was really happy? Oh, I'll let you decide, right? Maybe neither, maybe both. I had a good year last year, but am I successful? And the answer is no. I don't feel I am, because I'm trying to build a world that doesn't exist yet. I'm trying to build a world in which 90% of people go home at the end of the day feeling fulfilled by the work that they do. So I definitely took a big step forward towards that goal, but I'm still so far away. So somebody said to me, then how do you know if you're successful? And the answer is, if it can go by itself. And so what is more interesting to me as a measurement of success is not the markers per se. It's not the financial goal or the size of the house that you want to buy. Those are nice things, go for it. But those are not measurements of success. Those are just nice things to collect along the way. Right. For me, it's momentum. I want to measure momentum, which is, you know, when something is moving and you start to see it lose momentum, you're like, uh-oh, give it a push, because if you don't give it a push, it's going to stop. And an object in stasis is much harder to get going. It requires a lot more energy to get something started than it does to keep it going, right? And so if you don't let it stop and you can keep it going, it's this, you know, it still might slow down there, but you can get it going again much easier. And for me, the opportunity is to get the ball rolling faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like a snowball. And my responsibility is, because it's not rolling downhill yet, it's not on automatic yet, I need to still keep it going to find that critical mass where it can go, and at the point it can go by itself without me, then I will find something else to do. And that may not happen in my lifetime. I think we must all stop measuring promotions, salaries, and these things, but rather measure the momentum of your career. Does my career have momentum? Can I see it moving in the right direction? Can I see it gathering moss? You know, can I see that it's becoming easier for me to keep the momentum? It's becoming easier for me to grow the size of this thing. It's requiring less effort. That's the thing we need to measure. Yeah. That's the thing that we need to be cognizant of, which is the momentum of our careers, not just the markers that we think define our success.
Being thoughtful about the future is amazing, but not letting it cripple you is the key.
Yeah, because my problem, I would think so further in the future, I would start worrying about stuff. It's stuff that I want to accomplish before I leave this earth years from now that I want to do. Like, I always... It's
great to have ambition.
Yeah, that's one.
But if you cast too much judgment on yourself on a day-to-day on how you're reaching that ambition, you're going to cripple yourself. The fact that you understand that that is your perspective means you're on the cusp of fixing it. Only thing that I've ever seen really work in this scenario, where your DNA and your experiences has made you look half glass full, pessimistic versus optimistically blind, is to fundamentally surround yourself with optimistic people. You got to cut out pessimistic and negativity, and you got to add on optimism and positivity. It's as simple as that. You guys should be looking around at each other and whoever else isn't here, and like in order, who's the most optimist, and there's a real fine line between delusion and optimism. I'm gonna be in the league, but they're not even practicing. So that's delusion. I'm gonna be in the league, and maybe you don't see it, but you see them at least doing free throws 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. every morning before they go on the bus. You know, at least he's trying. And the more difficult your circumstances are, the more likely you're around pessimism. My number one piece of advice of leaving here is whoever the most optimistic person is here, become more friendly with them. Straight up.